Okay, here we go. Welcome everyone to yet another episode of Power BI is a Group Italy streaming events. Um, Today we are here with Sergio Albea, who is going to present his session on Power BI plus KQL queries, the dynamic duo of data adventures. This is a session that was originally scheduled for the Power BI Ticino conference in Switzerland, but unfortunately we couldn't make it. So now we are recovering here online, so everyone can see the session. As the usual attendees already know, I'm buying time so that people start to join our live streaming because it's useless to start if people aren't here. But if you are already connected with us, please let us know. So write in the comments, say hi, so that we know that somebody is listening to what we are saying. And in the meantime, we will present our user introduction slides and also present Sergio a little bit. Sergio, as is written on the slide, is a senior cloud security engineer, and he works on threat hunting and cybersecurity analysis, if I understand correctly from your LinkedIn profile, Sergio. But he has extensive experience in everything related to IT, more than 15 years of experience, if I understand correctly, again, both in Spain and in Switzerland. But I will leave you the floor later to introduce yourself to our community. So today we're going to see this session again about Power BI plus KQL queries and many other technologies. Let's go over our usual slides while Andrea is telling us that on LinkedIn it looks like the live is not working. Can you check, Ricardo, on LinkedIn?
It's working. It's enough to do a refresh of the page. I was stuck also,
Okay.
but it's live. So if you are stuck in LinkedIn, just hit refresh.
Okay. Maybe we will write this on our Telegram group chat as well, so that everyone knows it.
I'll do it.
Anyway, while we do it and while we get everything back running, who we are, well, if you are here, maybe you already know us, but if you are new to our community, we are one of the main, if not the main Italian community dedicated to business intelligence and related technologies. We do Power BI, SQL, Azure, Microsoft Fabric, analysis services, events. We also sometimes do meetings about other technologies. If a presenter would like to present some topic related to BI with different technologies, we are open to that as well. So that's who we are. We meet virtually every 2 weeks for streaming events with guests both from the Italian and the international stage. And we also do live events, as many of you know. We've done 3 live events this year: one in Milan, one in Turin, and one in Switzerland, in Piaggio, in the Acer headquarters, Acer Europe headquarters. Where can you find us? We are on pretty much every social network, but my suggestion is to follow us on LinkedIn and meet up to be up to date with all our events. If you are an Italian speaker, also join the Telegram group chat. If you are not an Italian speaker, but you will still like to join the Telegram group chat, please do, and just write in English and somebody will answer. We are there every day to discuss technology topics, Power BI, Fabric, Azure, everything. And yeah, if you want to drop a note also in English, is perfectly fine. Someone will definitely answer you. But most of the conversations are in Italian, as we are an Italian user group. We do not have our usual slide for the next events today because we didn't have anything planned originally. Well, we had stuff in the making, but we didn't have anything officially planned. But stay tuned, because on Monday we are actually going to announce a new big surprise, an event that we think you are going to like. So stay tuned on our social channels, on LinkedIn, Telegram, wherever you follow us from. We will announce something big. And before the 11th of December, maybe we will do also something else online coming up to that date. So yeah, just keep following us wherever you do usually, and to be up to date with our announcements. Um, Again, our community is open to everyone. You don't need to be an expert presenter with many, many years of experience, like Sergio and Ricardo. You can also have no experience or much less experience like I do, like me. And if you want to try a first action for the first time, if you want to help us with materials, social channels, events, anything, if you're passionate about this and you want to give us a hand, please write to us, and we are open to the help of everyone, and also to help everyone to become a presenter and have a stage to talk. Let's say. So I will say that that's pretty much it. If you have any question or doubts, you can contact us personally or in our social channels, and let us know if you want to join the community or if you didn't understand where we are or anything. Just write to me personally or write in the community. Having said that, I finish with the usual presentation, and I will leave the floor to Sergio and his presentation about Power BI and KQL queries. And also, please, Sergio, introduce yourself to our community so that we get to know you a bit better. I will launch your slides now.
Perfect. So thank you very much, and also to give me the opportunity for second time after, as you mentioned, that the teaching I was not able to assist. So I'm really happy that finally we were able to introduce this topic. I would like to talk about the Power BI integration with KQL queries. This is a project where I have been working for more than 1 year, and the results of this project has been really helpful for us. I will talk about that in the next slides. So to start, quickly introduction about me. I have been working at the around 15, 20 years, starting as sysadmin, then I was moving more to architecture stuff, and in the last 5 years, I have been more focused on security. Regarding my hobbies, I love all the things related with football, either playing, watching, the same with music. And finally, quickly, things about my personal life. I arrived to Switzerland 5 years ago. It was a totally new challenge, new language, new culture, but I'm really happy how it ends. But also, I'm really proud where I'm coming from. I'm coming from a small village called Valls, close to Barcelona, Tarragona, which is famous for two things: be the best one, making human castles, and also to have one of the most curious competition to see who can eat more onions in 1 hour. I love to explain that. It's really something that I'm really close to my village. Saying that, let's go to the topic. The agenda for today, I would like to talk about this integration, the products that involve this integration, then the architecture is really simple, nothing complex, you will see it. I will talk the three products that are inside of this integration, then a small demo, and then other things that I think that can be helpful if some of you are interested in this integration. So let's start with the products. The first one of the key points of this integration, Microsoft Defender, is there. Basically, if you don't know a lot about this product, is a suite of products that Microsoft give you to monitor your assets. It means can be identities, can be devices, can be cloud applications, can be on-premise or on the cloud even. So it's really extended the options that Microsoft provides to monitor your assets. And you have the option to centralize all the monitoring stuff inside of Defender. And what they are monitoring? They are monitoring mainly which are incidents, the logs that are generating these different assets. And in that way, you can query what is happening behind of these different assets, okay? How we are querying this different information, the different logs that these products are generating. We are using KQL queries. If you know SQL, KQL queries for you will be like moving from one door to the second door. It's really simple and really easy. And if you are new with KQL queries, to be honest, I'm one of the worst persons programming. I'm not really good, but this language for me was really easy to understand. As you can see, you have here two examples. My table will be one of the tables that you can see in the right picture. In the right picture, you have a default list of tables that are created by Defender. The first group are related to identities and application. Second, email, exchange. And a third one is for device. You have more and more, but just to give you an example. And basically with these two queries, what you are doing is give me the columns 1 and 2 from this table. Okay, can be whatever of these ones. Or give me the content of a specific table where a specific column has more than 100 as a value. Okay, and at the end you see a KQL query example where we are looking for emails that has been detected as malware, and then we select which are the columns that we want to see from that table. In that case, if I'm looking for malware, detection malwares, I want to know in which device, which has been the malware file name, the SAH, the sender recipient, and sender domain. Because then perhaps I'm interested to block the domain, know where this malware is coming from, talk with the user to ask why this person was opening the file, and others. KQL queries, going further, I identify two types of queries in my day-to-day work. Emergency queries, that are generating emergency results, which mean a user is compromised, a device is infected, a mailbox has been spoofed by someone. In this case, when I see some of the results, I want to react. I want to restart the password of a user. I want to isolate a device. And for that, we have things in Defender that are called detection rules, which allow you to take actions. But on the other hand, we have reporting results. KQL queries that are showing more trends, behaviors, anomalies, and I don't want to have a ticket for every one of that, because if not, you can end with lists like that, which, trust me, is really difficult to understand which has priority, which is more important, which is more critical. So this is when Power BI pop up in the ideas to analyze this type of KQL query results. I take advantage to talk about KQL search site. If you are interested to know more about KQL, or you want to find multiple KQL queries, go here. It's an amazing place. It's open source, and a lot of people is contributing, as it's a really, really good place. Saying that, as I mentioned, Power BI was our solution to detect trends, anomalies, and behaviors. Why? Because, as I mentioned, I don't want like 300 or 400 tickets per day about possible cases that I don't know if it's a real case or a false positive. So Power BI was helping a lot to understand which has to be prioritized, help us to enrich the current information that Defender XDR is providing, and also we are able to correlate the different tables that I showed you before. We can connect the different tables to have even more options for threat hunting. Architecture, as I mentioned before, really easy, nothing complex. We have to configure an app registration. I will talk deeper in the next slides. Sorry. Then we need inside of the Microsoft 365 E5 license, we need 3 products: Power BI Pro, Power Automate, or if someone of you prefers to use Logic Apps, is the same. Basically, Logic Apps, you have more options, you can have bigger performance. But to be honest, so far for KQL queries with Power Automate, I had enough. I have not need to go to Azure and create a Logic Apps. And finally, OneDrive, because OneDrive, I will use it as recipient to import the KQL results. I will show you how it works. And yeah, of course, Defender XDR. No, if we don't have Defender XDR, we don't have logs to query. The architecture from Power Automate we will generate an HTTP post call to this app registration. The app registration will back a token. And with this token, Power Automate will be able to use Graph Explorer. I will show you also what I'm talking about, to create the KQL queries, to run the KQL queries, and export the results into Power BI. So let's go deeper in these three products that I was talking about. The app registration. This is a basic service that you have in your Azure, and you don't have even to enable the pay-as-you-go option. It can be created by free. So you navigate to your entry ID, app registration, create, you define a name, next, Microsoft style, next, and nothing else. When this is created, you will have to save three values that are important. Tenant ID, which you have by default, application ID, that is created when you create the application. And then you have to generate a secret, as you can see here. And you have to save these three values to be able to create the token. There are different options to manage this app registration stuff. You can use also certificate or federated credentials. If you have the time and it works for you, go with certificates. It's the most secure option, and for me, the best one. But I had some problems in my case, and I had to go with client secrets. And for this client secret, what I have done is I have created a key vault repository where I have add my app registration, my tenant ID, and the secret. And then from Power BI, I'm able to go to, I'm sorry, from Power BI, from Power Automate, I'm able to call key vaults and take the three values that will help me to generate the token. When I have the app registration created, I need to add which will be the role. No, when I go to app registration from Power Automate, they will say, okay, I can generate you a token, but which is the role that you want to use with this token? Basically, threat hunting. Threat hunting will allow us to configure to run the different KQL queries. We add the permission, grant permission, nothing else, as simple as that. That's all that we have to do in the app registration. Now let's go to the key part of all this integration, which is the Power Automate. Basically, Power Automate or Logic App, as I mentioned before, is a flow of actions that you can define for your business, for your proposal. For example, in my case, I want to configure a flow that run KQL queries and import the results in some place. In my case, I will use OneDrive. How it works. To summarize, we have 4 steps, as you can see here. A schedule, when the flow will run, will generate the token, will call HTTP post to run the query, and it will back the results, which will be imported in KQL, which will be imported into OneDrive. So let's start. As I mentioned, first step, recurrence, the schedule, when we want to execute this flow, daily, monthly, so it depends on everyone. Second, I go to key vault, as I mentioned before. I take the 3 values, secret, app ID, and tenant ID. All are totally hidden, okay? So it's really a secure way to use these 3 values. When I have these 3 values imported in the Power Automate, using these different options that you see in the slide, I can call to Microsoft to generate the token. Okay, on top, I'm defining the tenant ID here. Here, the app ID is clear, and then the client secret. With that, that's enough. With that, Power Automate will call the app registration, and it will back the token to run the KQL queries, because the token will come with this threat hunting role that we have defined previously. Once we have that, this is the most complicated part, as we said, of all the integration. We have to create a new action, as you can see here, which is called parse JSON, and it has to have the token format. Okay, we generate this text, we select in the content the body of the token that has been taken from the previous step. When we are running that, automatically it will generate the body. So we add the body here, we define the schema, and then we save this schema into variable. That's all, into variable. When we have that, we are ready to run KQL queries. As easy as that. We define the Graph Explorer URI, the method that we will use. In the authorization, as a header, we define the token that we have saved in the variable. And let's start with the queries. As easy as that. Query and the query that you want to, the KQL query that you want to execute. And you can execute multiple ones. So you don't need to generate more tokens. You can create more actions and more queries and queries and queries. I will show also an example in the next slides. And that's all. When it backs the results of this KQL query, what I'm doing in my site, I'm saving the file sorry, into OneDrive. In my case, it's generating the content in JSON file. And as some of you probably know, Power BI is really good to read JSON files. So as with this format, it's enough for me to work with these KQL query results. So as I was explaining, it's really fast, this process. The first step to take the tenant ID, app ID, and secret ID of the application are really fast. It generates the token also really quickly. And then you have the part that generates the different KQL queries. It takes some time, and every time that it runs a KQL query, after it saves the content into OneDrive. Okay, as you can see here, I have two even more KQL queries, and every time that one KQL query is done, is saved into OneDrive. So we have finished with two of the key products, and let's go with the last one, Power BI. Basically, I will talk about the two options, Power BI Desktop and Power BI Online. The Power BI Desktop in my side is more for the design of the different dashboards, and the Power BI Online is more for scheduling and to share the report with different people using Power BI roles. I will talk also about that. And the Power BI Desktop, we have now all the flow created, which is a schedule depending on what we want. So we don't have to be worried about if the KQL queries are updated or not, because all the KQL queries will be updated depending on our schedule. That's really nice. It's not static, it's totally dynamic. So what we have to do now is we have the content, dynamic content, but we have to import this content into Power BI, transform, and visualize. So we have the file as I'm talking in OneDrive. So I navigate to the file, I go to details, and I have the path, which is the URL of the file. I go to Power BI Desktop, get data, web, and I add this URL of the JSON file that has been generated by the Power Automate with the KQL queries. Okay, and automatically you have all the content. As you can see here, I'm talking about a KQL query related with users. I have all the columns from this table. You can see here, then I can modify whatever. I'm seeing which countries are trying to sign my user, which has been the results, if they have been success, they have been filed, which is the reason. And then I will not go deeper in the Power BI design. I think that a lot of you know a bit how it works. We have multiple visuals to use. We have different ones that are listed by default. And you can start to work with your different columns that are coming from this KQL query. For example, if I want to know which are the locations where my user are trying to sign, or even this example is showing not only user, if not external people that is trying to sign. So it also helps to identify if there are some users that externally are someone is trying to take access. So it's helping me to see some trends. Or if a user is connecting the same day from 3 or 4 countries, that is like a typical travel, no? Or impossible travel also is called. So these kind of things are really helping me for these trends, anomaly in behaviors that I mentioned. Because if I have to have like a ticket for every case of like that, it will be very difficult to respond quickly. And in security is one of the key points is response as quick as we can. Yeah, I will show you another examples at the end of the presentation. But as you know, as we can see, more enrichment graph visuals such as a map, etc. etc. I will not go deeper on that. So now we have all the report with the different KQL queries, but we want to refresh that information. So we don't have to, in that way, we don't have to go to Power BI desktop and refresh manually. If not, we want that schedule automatically. For that, we can publish the report to Power BI Online. Once it's published, we go to the refresh blade, and here we define when we want to refresh our data. Can be daily, can be weekly, and others. And which I forgot is that inside of the Power Automate, as an action, as one of the steps, also you can force to refresh the Power BI online report. So if you want to execute the KQL queries, and once are created the different OneDrive files, you would say, okay, and now I want to refresh my Power BI online report. Also, you can do that instead of configuring this option. So it depends on everyone. A small demo about these options. This is some dashboard that we have been working in my current job. For example, this case is telling me which are the tickets that has been generated so far in the last year. For example, it gives me some trends, like which are the type of categories, which are the severity, which can help me to identify, okay, we have to be more focused on defense regarding, for example, I don't know, collection or command and control, credential access, whatever. No, so it's really helping me to detect different trends. Then we have this calendar view, which is also really helpful because instead of have this list, eternal list, it is helping me to know what is happening during the last month. Also, it helped me to review what has been resolved or not. So as you can see, the visualization is really easy. And also the reports can be shared with your clients, can be shared. In that way, also the clients can see what we are doing. That is sometimes the typical point that happens. We are paying them, but we are not see if what they are doing. So it's a good way to show, hey, we are working your case, and you have a kind of a quick view about which are the status of your tenant. Same one. This is a really good one related with CVIs, which are the vulnerabilities in your devices. And for example, you can see different options inside of Power BI for selecting the CVS score, if they have an exploit, which is the severity level. So you can, as I mentioned, you can select and arrive to have this kind of really visualization and data analysis dashboards that help a lot to detect different threats, no? And yeah, I will talk about this dashboards also later because there is a nice option with this case. And yeah, another options. This, for example, is related to identities. I can see which is the type of multi-factor use methods that they are using, which is the last time that they reset the password, which is the failure sign attempt from different countries. And I have some users that from the last 7 days, they have tried to sign from more than 50 countries, for example. So it's, I think that is here. Is not this example? No, in this example, it's not. Yeah, exactly. You can see here in the last 7 days, I have some users that from different 49 countries, they were trying to take access of this account. So it's okay. I need to work on this account and ensure that it has multi-factor, know what is happening because I want to know why hackers are really focused on that account. No, so it's kind of things that this Power BI dashboard can give you. And that's all. To finalize, there are 3 points that I want to mention. If your Power BI files start to be bigger than 150, 200 megabytes, I would recommend you to split the Power BI dashboard in different files because the performance is not working as well as I would like. So if you have the option, it's better to split it. I tried to use Power BI connected to the app registration directly, but I found that I was not able to hide the secret app ID and tenant ID values If not, they were shown by default, and if someone for whatever reason was able to take the file, they were able to take these three values. And for this reason, I decided to go with this Power Automate. Power BI roles, if some of you are interested, this is an option where you can define roles. And basically you can create, for example, role Manchester and say only for role Manchester show information where tenant ID is equals to specific numbers. So when you share the report, people that is inside of this Manchester role, they will see all information where tenant ID is equals their tenant ID. But then you can create a second role, like Barcelona, and say, for Barcelona, just show information where tenant ID is like tenant ID Barcelona. And this is really nice because you can share the same report to everyone, because every role they will have different filters view, and you don't have to be like creating like one report for every client. No, you can have the general ones where all your clients can access. And finally, the last slide. I mentioned before, no, this CB, this CB1, this CB dashboard. Here we have something interesting that is enrichment. Why? Because basically what you can do is add external source, such as the meet attack matrix, such as the meet CVE meet DB in my case. And what I'm doing is I'm connecting the CVI meet database with my active CVEs, and I'm using the CVE ID as a primary key. In that way, all the information, external information for the CVE my DB are enriching totally my current information about my active CVEs. And this is just an example. You can connect a lot of external sources, such as a spam house that can tell you bad reputation IPs, bad reputation files, bad reputation domains. So that's really nice. I really love it about Power BI because it's really easy to integrate this external source and then connect to your current data. So that's all. Is a brief introduction. To be honest, to explain all in more details and all the cases, I think that we need some hours. But I would be really happy if this presentation has helped you to see the potential results that it can give you with these KQL queries at the end, and how Power BI can help with this visualization. So that's all. And then I would like to ask you if you have some questions. I will be happy to answer you.
There's already a couple of comments by Kent Hassel in the LinkedIn comments. So I will show one. Let's say StreamYard is able to show the full comment. Yes. So you just have to be aware that there are limitations in the API call incidents API, up to 50 calls per minute or 15,000 per hour. Advanced hunting API, up to 45 calls per minute, and so on. Well, you are reading the same the comments on the screen. So if you have some comments on this.
Yeah, I think Ken is totally in the line. Is correct. So what I'm doing usually, due to this limitation, in the Power Automate flow, what I do is there is an option to pause the flow during minutes, hours, or whatever. So what I do is when I'm arriving to 50 requests, I have a step which is wait 1 minute, and then I continue with the second 50 ones. And I'm doing the same, for example, with Virus Total. Virus Total allow you to review per minute or per hour, I don't remember now, 4 or 5 IOCs. So what I do is every time that I have checked 4 IOCs, I wait 1 minute and I go again. So it's kind of the game that you have to do with this Power BI. And as I mentioned at the end, if you want bigger things, you can go with Logic Apps. You can use also with PowerShell. So it's a bit to decide, and depending on the result that you have a KQL query that is generating small results, it will help. But if it's generating like 30,000, things like that is when is more challenging.
And there is, well, Kent is commenting that that's a good idea, and also is posted another idea himself.
Mhm.
So if you want to create a PowerShell script to retrieve several requests, and then you can transfer them to blob storage, and
Exactly.
only after import them into Power BI. Yeah, I also had a similar comment to make. Probably the only thing that I would add to your solution, or maybe you've already thought about it and found that it wasn't necessary, is like an additional storage layer for the data before going directly into Power BI. But which is, I think, is what Kent is suggesting here
Mhm.
to programmatically download these files in blob storage with PowerShell and then only then connect to Power BI. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing of these Power Automate logic apps, that you have so many options, and that I think that is everyone can have what they are looking for in terms of security, in terms of integrity. So that's really nice.
Yeah. And then there is a question from Ricardo, who is here. So if you want to, if you want to do it yourself, Ricardo, please go
Yes,
ahead.
I was writing just to put my to
Uh-huh.
get my ticket to ask the question. So, so I was thinking that this is a great solution, and probably the architecture that you designed was made of different pieces. I mean, there is Power BI, there is Power Automate, and KQL, and all that stuff. Do you think that this architecture can be migrated or done from scratch directly into Fabric? Everything and having everything there, like pipelines for orchestration instead of the Power Automate. I don't know, Lakehouse to store
Mhm.
the outcome of the APIs and so on. Power BI is already there. So, do you have you experience on doing something like this into Fabric?
To be honest, I have not worked a lot with Fabric, but I would be surprised if it cannot be integrated. As far as from Fabric, you are able to call an app registration or Graph API. I think that you have like 80% of the process integrated. Another thing that I don't know, and perhaps you know more than me about that, is that Power BI, in my case, I have just to pay for Power BI Pro license in my site, and then I can add guest users to see the report without extra cost. And is that an important point in terms of cost? So I don't know if Fabric it will allow you the same to add to invite external people to see your content without license requirements.
Well, you have to buy licensing. It depends on the Fabric capacity that you are going to buy. So from the F64 and up, it pays for all the accesses. So it's like the P1 premium capacity that exists. So you are basically paying for everyone. Below F64, you have to pay for additional Power BI Pro to share the content. So this is an additional cost, as you said. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but I think that I'm sure that will be feasible to integrate. I will be surprised if not.
Great, thank you.
Right. So we have another question from Moji.opera, who is, I think, a newcomer to our events, as I never saw his account. Is it possible to have vertical tables, like in first column all the column names and the other column all values, or in paginated report? Um, yeah, I guess well, paginated reports, I think I can answer myself. Yeah, you can most definitely. I mean, you probably need to change a little bit your architecture because, especially on the last part, paginated reports that needs either SQL queries or Power BI dataset to retrieve the data, as far as I know, or last I checked it. Regarding the other question about the vertical tables, I'm not sure if I understand the question. Maybe you, Sergio or Ricardo,
If the
understand what is it.
question is if you can have different tables dynamic, like you select, for example, a user, and in a second table you have information about the user connections, user device. If it's close to it, yes, you can have all the tables that you want, and when you select a specific field, all the rest of the tables are updated at the moment. I don't know if it is in that way or not.
Yeah, I think it's a question. Is the question is about, can I have something that is on pivot in something that has like a key value table where you have the column name and then the value, everything in two columns. It will be, I would say it will be a weird design choice, but you can definitely do that. I don't know if there are any tools that, any like reporting or front end tools that welcome this kind of table. Definitely don't do it in Power BI, I would say, unless I am very off about what you're asking. I wouldn't do that in Power BI. Just go with the star schema, fact tables, dimensions around it, and everything else as we usually do. But
For
yeah,
what
if
concerns paginated reports, I think that, as you said, there's a limited set of data sources natively, but there's in preview since this summer the possibility to use Power Query inside paginated reports. So it must be tested because I don't know if it's possible, but I would expect that you can connect to Custo using the Power Query connection from the paginated reports. I've done something similar to connecting to Azure Data Lake from a paginated report. It's not a native support data source inside paginated reports, but through Power Query connector, you can basically do whatever you want in a paginated report. It's still in preview, so I do not suggest to put it into production for critical stuff, but probably you can do it. It must be tested.
yeah, and also I think that for this specific use case, maybe Power BI has more tools because you also have alerting in Power BI. So if you want to immediately know that something weird is happening in your security space, you can maybe set something up. Overall, it works a little bit better, I would say, when you're working with data that is constantly being refreshed. Because if you're working paginated report, you need to continuously refresh your paginated report and load it every time if you want new results. But yeah, you can probably do something with paginated reports as well. Yeah, so I don't see any other question coming from the comments. I don't know if you have any other questions, Ricardo, or comments to make, or if Sergio, you want to add something. I think it's a really interesting solution. I will definitely need to review the session because half of this stuff for me is very new. I think for most of our audience as well, because well, we are Power BI as a group. We have users that are really expert on Power BI, but I think the first part on the
KQL queries.
yeah, on the part of
Defender.
data extraction and yeah, Defender and setting up the token and everything else is something that we don't do as often. So it's definitely interesting, and it's definitely something that I think it's added value to every professional to know how to set up these things. So if you are a BI professional, you know Power BI, but you also know how to do that stuff. That's definitely added value. So yeah, very interesting application. I'm always happy when we see like actual applications of the technologies that we use in real business cases, because what we tend to do sometimes is just do the technical sessions about Power BI, and that's interesting, of course, but it's also interesting to see how it's used in the real world with real business cases then then that maybe someone can replicate on its own. So yeah, that's my comment, I would say. And yeah, that's it. Thank you, Sergio.
No, a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time.
Cool.
Thank
So
you.
what could we add? If you guys don't have any other comment, I will just remind everyone again that we are going to have a couple of surprises for you. A big one for the 11th of December. So stay tuned on our channels. But maybe there will also be some other streaming events up to the 11th of December. And by saying that, I already spoiled what maybe we are going to do on the 11th without realizing. Yeah, we will cut this in post production. Anyway, okay. Thanks everyone. Thanks Kent for your comments. Thanks for being with us. And yeah, see you next time. Have a good evening. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye. Bye.